Hey guys, so we're back and we're going to be learning about vectors and trigonometry this week. So what is a vector? We've talked about it briefly at the beginning of chapter 3 to describe translations, but now we're going to use the vector, which means any quantity that has a magnitude, which means size, and direction. This time we're going to use it to describe direction using north, south, east, and west. Okay? So, in our quadrants, it's very important that we remember quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. This quadrant, both x and y are positive. Here, x is negative, y is positive. They're both x and y are negative, and then here x is positive, but y is negative. Okay, this is very important to remember. Okay, so when we do the together questions, it says describe, and this symbol means vector. Okay, so describe vector OL by using ordered pair notation. Give the coordinates to the nearest tenth. Okay, so we're still going to be dealing with sine and cosine just for a little bit longer. So they give us a triangle. We have the x and y. We're missing those sides, but we have the hypotenuse, which is 65, and the angle, which is 50 degrees. So our first step is to set up the cosine of 50 degrees. Remember, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so adjacent would be x over 65. Okay? When we set up sine, we're not done yet, but sine, right, of 50 degrees, okay, is equal to y over 65. Okay, we're going to be solving for x and y. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 65. Okay, so then I have 65 times the cosine of 50 degrees is equal to x. And times by 65, times by 65. So 65 times sine of 50 degrees is equal to y. So in our calculator, okay, we're going to do 65 times the cosine of 50 degrees. Okay, when we do that, I get 41.78. So I'm going to round this to 41.8. They wanted it to the nearest tenth. So 41.8 is x. And then y, I do 65 times sine. Oops. So before I hit 65 times cosine of 50 degrees, now I'm going to do times sine of 50 degrees. So I get 49.79. So I'm going to round this to 49.8, which is equal to the y. Okay, but let's look at something. We're going to write this in vector form, okay? So vector form is vector OL is equal to, vectors we use pointed brackets, okay? My x and my y, I solved for, but what quadrant am I in? I am in quadrant, if I look up here, I'm in the fourth one. I'm in the bottom one, bottom right, so quadrant 4. So remember, in quadrant 4, my x is positive, but my y is negative. So my x is positive, 41.8, that's positive, comma, my y, which is going to be negative, so I have negative 49.8. Okay? So just like that, we know quadrant 4, it was x positive and y negative. Okay, so this is our answer right here. This is what we were looking for. Okay, let's go to the next one. It says describe each vector. So the vectors are written out for us. Now we just have to describe what it's saying to us. So when we look at the first one, we have a vector going, and the arrow's pointing down, away from east toward south, 25 degrees. So first you start by saying the degrees. So we have 25 degrees, and we went south, we went down, south. And where did we come from? It went from east to south. So of east. Okay, next one. We write the degree first. 35 degrees is the vector angle. Okay, and it went down, it went over to the right to east, so 35 degrees east of, where did we come from? North. Okay, the next one we have 42 degrees, and we went down south, so south of, where did we come from? The arrow's pointing from west down, so of west. Last one, we have 45 degrees, okay, and it went north of, and then where did it come from? West. Okay, remember you can pause the video at any time if you need. Okay, last one, a helicopter lands at a point 40 kilometers east and 25 kilometers north of the point at which it took off. Find the distance that the helicopter flew and the direction it traveled. So the first thing we are going to do, okay, we're missing c, so this is what we need to solve for first. So we almost have it like a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and that's what we're going to do. So we have 40 squared plus 25 squared equals c squared. So we do 40 squared first. 40 times 40 is 1600 plus 25 squared, so 25 times 25 is 625 equals to c squared. Now we're going to add 1600 and 625. We get 2225 is equal to c squared. We take the square root of that, both sides. So we get c is equal to, and that would be 47.2. Okay? So we have c, but we need to know the distance it traveled and the direction. So we have the distance traveled, and now we need a direction. So we're solving for what? We need to have this x degree. We're missing that. Okay? So I have tan of x is going to be equal to, right? This is opposite over adjacent. So we have 25 over 40. 25 over 40. So I get tan x is equal to, I do 25 divided by 40 my calculator. 25 divided by 40 equals 0.625. 0.625. Okay? And then I'm going to take the inverse tan, -1 of 0.625 to see what that equals. Okay, so in the calculator I hit second, I clear it, hit second, tan, so I get the inverse sign, and then 0.625. Okay, equals. I get 32, and then we'll just 0.005, but we'll just round it to 32. Okay, 32 degrees. So our answer is going to be, the helicopter flew what was the distance? 47.2, and we were talking about kilometers. So we were at 47.2 kilometers at, what was our degree? 32 degrees. And then what was the direction? We went north of east, right? We went from here to here, so we went north of east. Okay? That's it.